Sully always carried a note in his wallet that said better to delay than cause disaster. On this particular day, his passenger plane had just left the airport when it hit a flock of birds. Both engines were damaged and lost power completely. The aircraft began shaking violently, but Sully didn't know the full extent of the engine damage. He could only feel the engine slowing down. Everything Sully did next was absolutely perfect. He first tried to restart the engines, but got no response. When the cabin lost electrical power, Sully didn't hesitate for even a second. He immediately activated the auxiliary power unit and restored electricity. Flight attendants told passengers to fasten their seatbelts and calmly explained they were just experiencing some turbulence. Following Sully's orders, the co-pilot grabbed the emergency checklist to find solutions for dual engine failure. Sully radioed the control tower to report their situation and request assistance. The tower immediately grounded all other aircraft and tried to help Flight 1549 return to the airport. But Sully knew they would probably have to make an emergency landing in the river. There was another airport nearby on the right side, but the plane was already too low to maneuver there. Sully announced over the intercom for everyone to prepare for impact. Flight attendants loudly instructed passengers to assume crash positions and keep their heads down. The control tower wanted them to land at the nearest airport, but Sully's 42 years of flying experience told him their only option was the Hudson River. After this communication, the tower lost radar contact with Flight 1549. Air traffic controllers kept calling, but received no response. Sully knew the nearest airport was at their 2 o'clock position, only about 7 miles away. He also knew that water landings had less than a 1% success rate. The radar showed no signal from Flight 1549 as the aircraft continued losing altitude. Passengers were panicking and praying for a safe emergency landing. Sully calmly controlled the aircraft and adjusted the angle for water impact. The plane touched down on the Hudson River without breaking apart. Sully had achieved a perfect water landing. Only one flight attendant suffered a minor leg injury. Sully quickly left the cockpit to help evacuate all passengers in an orderly fashion. The co-pilot was still in shock and couldn't move for several moments. The front door opened and the escape slide deployed while emergency exits were activated. Passengers moved onto the aircraft wings as the Coast Guard spotted them and called for immediate assistance. Air rescue teams were dispatched right away, and passengers were evacuated systematically. It was easy to forget this was actually a plane crash with less than a 1% survival rate for water landings. Behind each precious life were loving families waiting at home. Additional rescue boats and ships continued arriving to help stranded passengers. Sully risked his own safety by going deep into the flooding tail section to ensure no one was left behind. He returned to the cockpit, gathered important flight records, and was the last person to jump onto the escape slide. With support from multiple rescue teams, the operation was completed quickly. When Sully reached shore, he was deeply concerned about whether all 155 people aboard had been saved. Since rescued passengers were scattered among different rescue teams, no one could give him an immediate answer.